You stand at the very top of the food chain. On this island, you are not just a resident. You are the law itself. You were born as Polyphemus, a Cyclops, a one-eyed giant and direct descendant of Poseidon, the ruler of the seas. Just imagine your massive body standing as tall as the trees. Every time you take a step, the earth beneath your rough soles trembles, sending small animals scurrying in terror to find hiding spots. There is only one eye on your forehead, yet its gaze sweeps across the entire pristine island, inhabited only by your kind and your giant livestock. Your sheep are the size of regular cows, boasting unmatched, incredibly thick fleeces. There is no civilization on your island. No buildings, no ships, not a single human being. There is only the silent wilderness, completely subjected to your absolute rule. Because your father is the god of the sea, you feel that you bow to no god on Mount Olympus. That arrogance is deeply ingrained in your blood, growing right alongside your massive muscles capable of uprooting a towering tree with a single hand. However, what you do not know is that far beyond the borders of your waters, the human world is burning. A group of humans, exhausted veterans of the Trojan War, are sailing home. Their fleet of ships lost its way after being battered by fierce storms, eventually washing up in Cyclops territory. Their leader is Odysseus, a king of Ithaca known for his cunning, yet deeply infected by his own human hubris. Driven by an unstoppable curiosity, Odysseus brings 12 of his best men ashore on your beach. While you are out in the meadows, basking in the warm afternoon sun and tending to your flock, these little flies infiltrate your palace, a dark, cold, and magnificent stone cave. Inside the cave, their human eyes widen at the sight of your giant wheels of cheese and vats filled with buckets of fresh milk. Odysseus's men, their survival instincts flaring, tremble with fear. They beg their leader, "Sire, let's take these cheeses, drive the sheep to our ships, and get out of here before the monstrous owner returns." But Odysseus's pride anchors him. Clinging to the illusion of civilization and the laws of Xenia, the sacred obligation of hospitality protected by Zeus, Odysseus refuses to flee. He feels entitled to be welcomed as an honored guest and wants to demand a parting gift from the cave's master. It is this petty human arrogance that ultimately seals their fate, setting them on a collision course with your giant pride. Until one afternoon, as you stride home herding your flock, the smell of your cave feels off. The air, which usually only smells of hay, sheep dung, and fresh milk, is now tainted by unfamiliar sweat and fear. You peer down into the darkness of your cave. There, near your hearth, stands a group of tiny, violently trembling creatures, humans. They are not guests, they are intruders. Unhurriedly, you reach for the boulder that acts as your door. A giant stone so massive it would take dozens of oxen and human warriors just to budge it. You lift and push it into place with a single hand. Slam! The boulder seals the mouth of the cave. The last rays of sunlight are cut off, leaving behind a darkness lit only by the flames of your hearth. That darkness traps them inside with you. Odysseus steps forward. Struggling to keep his voice steady, he speaks of the laws of Zeus, of the sacred duty to honor guests, and begs for your mercy. You listen to him, head tilted. For a moment, there is pure silence. Then, your laughter booms. The sound bounces off the stone walls, deafening them, sending some of them collapsing to their knees. Mercy? The laws of Zeus? They truly have no idea who they are talking to. You are a Cyclops. The laws of the heavens do not apply on this island. Without uttering a single word, your massive hand shoots out like lightning, snatching up 2 of his men at once. They scream hysterically, but those screams are abruptly silenced. In a flash, the 2 intruders become your dinner. After chugging buckets of unmixed goat's milk to wash it down, your stomach feels full. You stare at the remaining humans, huddled and clutching each other in the corner of the cave. Why eat them all tonight? The cave door is shut tight. They are nothing more than living rations, stocked in a pantry. The next morning, before you roll away the stone door and head out to pasture, you snatch up 2 more humans for breakfast. Life feels incredibly perfect and easy. The following evening, when you return to the cave, the metallic stench of blood still lingers. Their leader, the little man who stares at you with eyes as sharp as an eagle's, dares to step forward. He no longer demands the laws of the gods. In his hands, he hoists a large swollen sheepskin waterskin filled with a thick red liquid. He offers sweet wine as a tribute to your unrivaled strength. You snatch the vessel from him. The skin, which was incredibly heavy for them, is merely the size of a teacup in your giant palm. Without hesitation, you down it all in 3 massive gulps. What you don't realize is that this is no ordinary wine. It is the sacred wine of Ismarus, an unmixed concentrate so potent that, for a normal human, a single cup must be diluted with 20 cups of water. Yet this cunning mortal gave it to you pure, without a single drop of water. The flavor is overwhelmingly rich, incredibly sweet, and instantly burns your chest with an intoxicating warmth. Never in your life have you tasted a drink so delicious and so potent. The highly concentrated alcohol strikes directly at your giant's brain, which is completely unaccustomed to liquor. The sheer pleasure makes your consciousness waver and your vision spin slightly, yet your arrogance soars to new heights. You feel this tiny creature has finally realized just how superior you are to offer such a magnificent tribute. "What is your name, human?" you ask, your deep voice growing slurred from the alcohol. The man looks right into your single eye. With chilling calmness, he answers, "My name is Nobody." Your laughter erupts once more. What an utterly ridiculous name. Thoroughly satisfied with the wine, you pat your belly and declare, "As a reward for this wine, Nobody, I will eat you last." A heavy stupor slowly creeps over your eyes. You collapse your massive body onto the ground, snoring loudly, letting exhaustion lull you into a deep, heavy sleep. Your overwhelming overconfidence means you don't even bother tying their hands. After all, what could a swarm of insects possibly do to a sleeping giant? But that sense of security is a deadly illusion. The first sensation you feel upon waking is not a sound, but a searing, excruciating heat, followed by an agony beyond words. A massive olive wood stake, its tip sharpened and heated in the fire until it glowed red-hot, is rammed with all their might by Odysseus and his surviving men straight into your single eye. The blinding pain instantly rips away your only source of sight. The world that was just in the palm of your hand is plunged into absolute darkness. You scream, a shriek of agony so violent, so full of wrath and torment, that it shakes loose pebbles from the cave ceiling. You thrash wildly. In panic and rage, you tear the stake out and swing your hands in every direction in blind fury. Your dignity as the island's ruler crumbles to nothing. You rampage, trying to crush them to pulp, but you have lost your bearings. You stumble, crashing into the stone walls, smashing the hearth. You are utterly crippled inside your own palace. In your dark despair, you crawl to the cave entrance, still blocked by the boulder. You scream into the night, your booming baritone shattering the silence, calling out to your fellow Cyclopes living in the neighboring hills. Soon, the thunderous footsteps of giants approach. Your brethren gather behind the thick stone door. They shout in concern, "Polyphemus, what has happened to you? Who is hurting you in the dead of night?" Gasping for breath, through excruciating pain and a shattered ego, you scream the name of the one who bested you. "Nobody. Nobody is hurting me by trickery. Nobody is trying to kill me." A strange, cold silence falls outside the cave. You can hear your brothers breathing a sigh of relief. One of them shouts back dismissively, "Well, if nobody is hurting you, Polyphemus, and you are all alone in there, then this pain must be a sickness or madness sent by the gods. Just pray to our father, Poseidon." Then the sound of their heavy footsteps fades away, gone, leaving you entirely alone in the darkness. In that exact moment, the humiliation strikes your soul harder than the physical agony in your face. You, the strongest giant on the island, the favored son of the sea god, were taken down not by a sword, not by a massive army, nor by brute strength. You were destroyed by a cheap play on words. You were fooled, toyed with, and abandoned by your own kind in your own foolishness. But your suffering is not over. Dawn breaks, and your flock begins bleeding, waiting to be let out to graze. Groaning in pain, you grope your way to the cave door. You push the massive boulder just a fraction, just enough for the sheep to pass through. Thinking yourself clever, you sit squarely in the gap. Your giant hands feel the back of every single sheep as they exit, one by one. You smile grimly in your blindness. "You may have blinded me, you insects," you think, "but you will never slip past my guard." Yet again, you underestimate human ingenuity. Odysseus, realizing that you are only feeling the tops of the sheep, has tied his surviving men together. They are clinging underneath the bellies of your thick-fleeced giant rams. Sheep after sheep passes by. You stroke their thick backs, even pausing to talk to your lead ram about your misfortune, completely unaware that right beneath the palms of your hands, the enemies who ruined your life are slipping out to freedom, straight to their ships. You have been utterly duped one last time. With a weakened body and your sight gone forever, you crawl out of the cave toward the edge of the coastal cliffs. You hear the faint splashing of water and cheering in the distance. They made it to the ships. Suddenly, from the direction of the sea, a piercing shout cuts through the air. It's the voice of that cunning man, but this time, it is Odysseus's own human hubris that betrays him. Aboard his retreating ship, Odysseus simply cannot swallow his pride. He shouts out, mocking you, "O Cyclops, if anyone ever asks you who took your sight, know that it was not Nobody who did it. The one who blinded you is Odysseus, the conqueror of Troy, son of Laertes, the King of Ithaca." Odysseus's men scream in terror, pleading with their king to be quiet and not provoke the monster's wrath. But Odysseus's arrogance has blinded his own instincts. Hearing that true name, a memory violently strikes your mind. Long ago, a seer named Telemus prophesied that one day a man named Odysseus would blind you. Back then, you imagined Odysseus would be a mighty, handsome giant wielding formidable weapons. You never imagined that Odysseus would be a pathetic, puny insect. A colossal rage erupts from your chest. You tear the peak off a massive rocky hill nearby, swing it, and hurl it toward the sound of his voice out at sea. Boom! The giant boulder crashes down right in front of their ship, creating a massive tidal wave that nearly drags them back to shore. As their ship is dragged further away, you drop to your knees on the shoreline. You raise your giant hands toward the ocean, letting the waves wash over your feet, and scream a prayer of vengeance to your father. Hear me, Poseidon, dark-haired lord of the sea, my father. If I am truly your son and you claim me as your own blood, hear my prayer. Never let Odysseus, the conqueror of cities, reach his home in Ithaca. But if it is fated that he must return, make his journey a living hell. Let him lose all his men, let him sail on a stranger's ship, and let him find ruin and utter disaster waiting for him in his own home. In the deep depths of the ocean, Poseidon hears his son's cry, and the vengeful prayer of a wounded Cyclops is answered. Odysseus did manage to escape your island, but he was forced to wander and suffer for 10 straight years at sea, losing every single one of his men before he could finally set foot on his homeland again. The tale of the clash between Polyphemus and Odysseus is not just an ancient mythological story. It is a terrifying mirror reflecting one of the greatest sins of both mortals and gods, hubris, boundless pride. This story teaches us 2 crucial lessons. The lesson of Polyphemus: physical strength, status, or high position becomes utterly useless if we underestimate others and feel untouchable. Arrogance is an illusion that makes us drop our own shields of vigilance. The lesson of Odysseus: even the greatest intellect and the biggest victories can be shattered in an instant if we are consumed by the need for praise and validation. If only Odysseus could have held his tongue and checked his pride while escaping, he would never have provoked Poseidon's wrath, and would never have had to suffer for 10 years at sea. Never let hubris control you, whether you are at the very top or have just secured a massive victory. Because, more often than not, the small thing you underestimate, or the single word that slips from your lips out of sheer pride, is exactly what will bring you crashing down the hardest. I'll be signing off now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out, and I'll see you in the next story.